If you could interview yourselves, what would you ask?
What time did I wake up this morning?
Boy, that's genius. Why didn't I think of that?
I think this sofa is meant for two people.
It is. I didn't know there were going to be three of you.
My butt is stuck on.
Oh, God, I've worked with people like you. So, Fly, I'm curious, how much do you guide your teammates to look back and learn from mistakes versus not holding on to the past and just focusing on what's ahead?
There's always something to learn both from failure and success. So I like to look at both because sometimes people forget why they win and why they're good. So I definitely try to look at both things. And I think we were one of the best teams at the previous TI, and there's a lot of good things that we did that we actually, coming into training here, we looked back and like, oh, wow, you know, we just did certain things really well, and we'd like to do that again.
I believe like it's true that many teams, they forget why something is successful. And, you know, sometimes you have to take some moments to reflect on why you think something was working.
I'm curious how each of you would rate your performance at TI9 now that you've had some space to look back on it.
As a team, 9 out of 10.
Why not 10 out of 10?
Because we didn't win.
But you think you did everything that you possibly could to?
Pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll hop on the bandwagon. Yeah, 9.
Smart.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish that you had done differently?
Probably the last day, my friends.
The last day. Maybe played a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good track record, pretty much the entire event.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lost an upper bracket match, and then we managed to like kind of fight back. And then we lost to LGD in a fashion which I think was not very characteristic of us during that tournament. So, of course, we all wish that we had a better series. You
didn't make any roster changes right after TI. I'm curious why, because a lot of people, that's a really popular time for people to kind of take a look at personnel and see what works and what doesn't.
Because we formed the team 2 months prior to TI. And before going to TI, we already had made up our minds that we're not going to switch rosters, even if we like get 16th place, let's say. And then we did end up doing really well. So there was no reason for us to change maybe after this TI.
Who are you kicking after this TI?
I don't know. We don't know yet.
Okay.
Of course, after finishing 3rd place and being a pretty new team, it seemed kind of unnecessary to change roster.
I'm curious about your thoughts of this TI being in China for the first time.
I mean, I think it's great that it's in China. I think there's a lot of Chinese fans and players and like really great teams from here, so it only makes sense that they also get to experience it, because you know the feeling of playing at TI and for the crowd as well is, you know, like no other tournament. I'm also excited to hopefully, you know, play on the main stage against Chinese teams and see how, you know, the crowd gets. It's going to be good.
How would you compare how you are as a team today compared to going into TI8? How are you better?
We've been able to tackle some of our problems recently, and we're going to be better for it. And that's kind of what matters in the end, because if you started off great and you kind of like so-so during the year, but as long as you're able to fix what you had to fix or, you know, tackle it, then you're going to become much stronger than you were the previous year. So hopefully that happens this time.
Is it more difficult to get to TI now than ever before?
For the top teams, no, I would say. Like if you're consistent and you're at the top, you get rewarded more for it now. You know, maybe you have like a couple of months where you're down. It's not like you're going to miss TI because of that anymore.
What is your favorite part of TI?
It's like prestigious to be here, and everybody that is there for a reason. So I like the idea that it's basically all these teams, like the 18 teams that are putting their full focus into the game, and you get to like compete against each other. Just that idea is really cool for me.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you done?
Nice content, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Kuro, GH, welcome.
Thank you.
So we mentioned TI8. We all made a huge story out of the narrative that of all the teams we had seen come back as TI champs, this felt like the first real chance of seeing a repeat winner 2 years in a row. Did you feel the pressure of that narrative, or did you use that to fuel you?
Certainly there was like some sort of pressure, but I don't think we let it really get to us. It's more like the TI itself is full of pressure, more than anything else.
And it's constantly changing. It's not the kind of game where you win TI and now a year later, 2 years later, you know for sure you're still the best. Like you have to really actively work at it because it's constantly.
Yeah, Dota is a
evolving.
kind of game. It's impossible to just stay on the top for a long time without like putting your soul into it. And even if you put your soul into it, doesn't matter. Like someone just overtakes you anyway.
And how is Kuro as a leader? How would you describe him as a leader when that kind of thing happens? Trying to keep everybody focused on rolling with the punches.
I mean, it's easy for me to say because I know most of what happens behind the scenes usually. It's hard for the public to understand what Kuro's true job is. It's 90% outside the game that nobody actually sees. So I feel like his true role is not in-game related as much as outside the game, even though he offers an extreme amount of information.
He basically said I'm a shit player, but you know.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, how do you separate that? Because I know that you have to make decisions that are business related about friends and teammates. And you know, the most common time for teams to make changes sometimes is right after a TI. You made no roster changes, but then in June, you parted ways with Matumba Man. That had to have been really difficult because you've been playing together as the same players for so long. So I know that that wasn't a decision that you made lightly.
No, it was I mean, I was basically depressed for like 4 weeks afterwards. It sounds silly because I made the decision, but at the end of the day, being captain, leader, and whatever of this team, I have so much responsibility. Like they're all trusting me after all to make the right decisions. So getting Weha and replacing Mato with Weha is not just like exchanging like a player for a better player. That's not what happened. It's more like Mato was like a victim of these events. Like I just needed to change something right now. That's how I felt.
And how was that as a player for you, GH?
I mean, we all felt some kind of complacency in the team. It felt like everyone was just okay with not being the best. We had some feelings of, okay, we didn't win this one, but we weren't trying our best to win the next one.
Yeah, and he's not talking about Mato. He's
Right.
talking about
Not
the
at
whole
all.
team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it felt the build-up was there, but we didn't know how to deal with it because all of us as players, we actually wanted to win, but we didn't know what was the missing factor, that spark that actually was gonna lead us to win. Because no one was feeling this sense of urgency to actually try 120% better to win the game. So the situation was kind of weird because I have never experienced it before. And Kuro was, I mean, I can keep talking highly about Kuro, but he actually foresaw what was going to happen, and he made the best choice by actually changing something. Even though I love Matu and I love him as a person, as a player, but Kuro had stronger idea that something had to change, and I respect him so highly for that because it's not an easy decision. So I was really happy that he had the strength to do what was necessary in order for us to succeed, our team and Matu as an individual and someone else too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kaci.
Mirwan, have you ever been pregnant?
No.
Kaci, have you ever been pregnant?
I have.
We got the questions answered. We can leave.
I'm going to need my seat back.
No, you don't.
No?
We'll keep it this way.
Okay, fine. I want to hear a little bit about how the team has evolved because last year at TI8, that was the best finish that you've had. So I want to know from you what has changed and how do you feel coming into TI9? What do you think makes everything feel a little bit different?
I guess the difference between now and before would be we like each other more, I would say. We don't really have any personal issues between each other. We just talk about games, and it's easier.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Everybody understands what they're supposed to be doing in a team. We have a really good chemistry together, and I've been kind of like searching for that exact chemistry between players so they kind of like mesh. But like in the past, I've had a lot of issues with people just wanting to take over. Like, you know, it just happens naturally. You know, Kuro wanted to take us over, so like it just gets weird between people. And like there's Fly perhaps who wants to take over. There's a lot of people taking over here. It just gets clashy. It just gets annoying. So people start hating each other and all that stuff. But that's only like related to me. But a lot of the times you won't find out until you play with a team member, and then you understand like, oh, he wants to be the most important guy.
How would you say that Pepe has changed as a leader in the time that you've played for him?
I think when I first joined Secret was, I would say he wasn't that good at first. He wasn't the captain of the team for a long time, and sometimes he doubted himself too. He wasn't sure about stuff, and he needs to gain more experience back into his blood, knowing what's the best, you know. Sometimes I believe in him, so I just kept on playing with him.
You agree with that?
Well, you know, tough times during that time, you know.
Yeah.
TI6 wasn't fun.
I know.
Yeah, a lot of doubt in that era of time. I mean, Dota's our life. It starts oozing into everything you do. You don't succeed in Dota, you're wrong in Dota, you're wrong in life.
You tweeted in all caps at Ice Frog a
Yes.
few months ago.
Yeah,
Did that make you feel better? I feel like he,
it actually does.
yeah.
Sometimes you actually just want to shout at the gods, you know, like,
That's true.
what is this shit, you know? You don't know.
Exactly.
Like,
I want to switch a little bit to how you do think that you've been playing this season. Specific to VP, you both are neck and neck as far as how you're doing in the ratings with DPC. So how are you different? What do you think is the biggest reason that you can be more successful than VP at TI?
We can be more successful because we can just be better than them. And it's just weird because like in Dota, it's if you're correct, you win. If you're not, you don't. So in order to win TI, something magical needs to happen. Like everything needs to fit, everything needs to align. For now, I feel like we have a lot of those alignments going in our favor, and that's why we can probably be better than VP.
Pretty much everybody we've talked to has said that TI seems to be different for a lot of reasons. It's bigger than all the other tournaments, but also the mentality of it seems to be different, where anything can happen for any team. Knowing that you're #1 in DPC coming in, does that mean anything to you at all because it's TI, or do you use that as a source of confidence as you start group stage?
Nah, it's like doesn't matter. We've all been there. You know, we've seen it many times before. Being a dominant team in the year does not mean that you will win TI. So we don't care.
yeah, it's true. You might be a major winner, but when it comes to TI, you might be nothing, you know. You never know.
Yeah, we're losers. Only if we win. We're not losers. Second place, you're a loser. Good night, everyone.
What is this, late night? Jesus.
Good night, everyone.
Yay!
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Thank you, guys.